Welcome to Anuga F&B Talks. In this series, we are inviting global players and innovators from the industry to share their stories and showcase their innovation in anticipation of Anuga 2025, the biggest trade show for the food and beverage industry worldwide. Thanks for tuning in. I just had the pleasure to chat with you, Michael, about your company, KernTec. You brought several products and ingredients with you. And it was really a pleasure to have you here and learn how you built your company and what you offer to the industry. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for this nice talk, and see you at Anuga then.
Michael, great to have you here in our content studio. I think we met somewhat 2018, 2019 when you first founded the company KernTec. Maybe you can take us to that time a little bit and tell us what the first vision of KernTec was back then.
Yes, thanks for the invitation. You are absolutely right. We met in our early days. The idea came up 6 to 7 years ago. And like all these ideas, they started really small. And it was in the backyard of a small farmer who had a vineyard. And I was there drinking some wine, where the good ideas come from. And indeed, it was a small discussion where I asked him, what are the current challenges you have? And he said, come have a look back. I want to show you something. And it was very easy because he showed me a hill of apricot kernels. And I think everyone knows the fruits of apricots, and they also know that they have some kernels inside. And I said, what shall I do with this? And he said, look, these kernels, I have to throw them away, but I go a little bit into a detail. And then very simple, he showed me if you crack them with a hammer, that there was a seed inside. I ate it and realized that it really tastes like a super good nut, a real nutty taste. And now immediately, and that's a funny story, a vision came up within the next 30 seconds. The funny thing is it has not changed until today. Because after some research, we realized that it's not the problem of this small farmer. It's a global problem because of big fruit producers who produce jam or juices. They have like 1,000, 2,000 tons. And in globally seen, you have over 1 million of these kernels which are not used. And you really need to ask yourself a really interesting question, because when you have this nut which is thrown away, so a raw material, why do you grow new ones? And on the other hand, throw away resources which are donated by the nature. Okay. And this really gave me the way of thinking this makes no sense. And our vision is until today. The funny thing is we had our 6th birthday like 2 weeks ago, and I talked about our vision, and our vision is until today that we want to create a world where unused resources are used before you grow new ones. And this is the thing what we will achieve one day, that there is no side stream in this world.
Okay, so like it's the purest form of serendipity in a way. So you stumbled upon this problem and made a business out of it. So that's the whole story. But maybe one step back. So just to ensure that everyone really understands, we're talking about the kernel of the apricot fruit, but not the outer kernel, but the inside, right? So if you crack it once again, then you unveil the nut, which you then use as a food ingredient, right?
This is absolutely true.
Okay.
Very easily said. Of course, it was thrown away because there were some technologies which were needed. Yeah. In the end, we do a lot of steps, but easily said, we have this kernel and we crack and win this inner seed. And then you have a seed and the shell. And after this step, you have big fields of application, what you can do them and use them in, yes, high application fields in everyday products what we use.
Okay.
This is the thing what we can do. One thing you can eat, the other one you can bring in other applications which are not for food.
And like besides the apricot, are there other fruits that you can potentially use for such a process?
In general, in our raw material field, we also use the kernels from plum and cherry. So they also have this inner seed, which has a high potential. But now I'm also talking about our business field. For me, it's really important. I'm not talking now on my own, that every industry has a look at their side streams, because you could play the field what we are doing in so many other industries in the food business. A side stream, I always say, is a raw material on the wrong place. So if you put some research in it, you can do the same thing with avocado stones, mango stones. So there is a big thing to do in the future, which is really good.
How was the evolution of, like, I would still say, introducing such a novel idea until today into the industry? Because certainly the times have changed a bit, and there was a certain sustainability hype until a few years ago, until a few moments ago. But obviously the world is changing, and there are ups and downs in that sense. So how was the evolution since the start?
The evolution, I try to make it in 3 phases. Number 1, when we started 6 years ago, there was definitely a big hype for sustainable ingredients. Don't understand me wrong, it's still today, but something changed in the price level. This is how I would describe it. 6 years ago, consumers were in a phase where they said, okay, sustainable products with lower CO2 or water footprint, I'm willing to pay more. Then we go back, especially as a startup in our sense, when you enter the market, then you have a difference between a niche and definitely in a scaling market. So when you go to the mass consumers, the price premium, I would say, is then not from, it gets smaller. And today we are definitely in a situation, I need to say, where the consumers have, I need to say it, obviously other problems than sustainability. There are economic factors, so price became way more important, that it costs less. But definitely sustainability is until today really, really important. People are really willing to buy sustainable products. The difference, in my opinion, is right now, people are right now not willing to pay more. So the chance for sustainable products are, you have a benefit against other products which are not that sustainable. If you have the same price level, then it's a plus.
Okay, so this is what we see also in other categories. So look, for example, at meat alternatives. Certainly a big topic, but also there, the most important USPs are no longer sustainability wise, but rather taste and other things that are really in the focus. And I would understand it's similar here in your category, right? And
absolutely, yeah. It's a really good summary what you said,
yeah. Let's look at the actual product, because you brought these samples, and maybe that also makes it a little easier to understand what you are really doing in your process, and also how the actual B2B food ingredients look like in the end. Maybe you can just lead us through a bit, because here is what I have described at the kernel of the fruit, and the second is already the the inner pit in that sense, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
that's it. So I don't know if you can see. So this is what everyone who is watching, I guess, knows. So you have the apricot and the pit, and now comes the reason I explain it why it was not used before. Number one, there is the first technology that we had to build. It was to win the inner seed out of it. So here you see, and the reaction of the people is a big surprise in the first moment because it looks like an almond. The funny thing is, it has also...
It's not.
It's not an almond, but it looks like it, but has even little bit higher percentage of protein, very healthy fat, so you can really compare it. But it's not grown in agriculture, so it has a less CO2 and water footprint. This is number one. And now comes a second topic. The nature wants to protect itself, that it's not eaten. So it is also the same with almonds, but there are people in the agriculture took specific sorts, varieties which have, it's called a toxic substance, cyanide, super bad. And in almonds, they try to reduce it in varieties because it's standardized grown. We have a byproduct. No one grows our raw material. So we invented a technology. It's patented, and we can put this cyanide level as low that you can consume it in high amounts, and yes, that it's consumable. And this is the second technology we needed in order to open this great resource for the food industry. And then we are a B2B company, so we follow our customers' demand. We have three big business fields. Number one is obvious, snacking, so you can eat them. I leave it here. You can try afterwards. I'm confident you like it. So you can snack it. And on the other hand, our strategic field is the non-dairy business. So like an almond milk, for example, you can have our apricot seed milk with its benefits. And the other thing is our seeds then indeed diced, that you can bring them into the chocolate or bakery industry, because this is one of the most used raw material in these huge application fields. And the last thing I need to mention it is also our process has side streams. So it is like the shell or also some oils. And here we indeed get stronger and stronger, definitely unexpected, in the cosmetic business.
Oh, wow.
So definitely the shells grinded to a flour you can use as peelings, or the oils are a very, very high valuable oil for the cosmetic industry. So our side streams are also used, and now we can really be proud that we use 100% of our recycled raw material.
Yeah, makes sense. Like, what's the normal answer? Like, I can imagine that also the food industry at some points raises questions about food safety and quality of the ingredients that they get from you. What's your response to that question?
Indeed, I think everyone who ever dealt with side streams, quality parameters is one of the most difficult thing, because nothing is standardized. So we have huge analysis costs, and of course from the industry there are some thoughts. And how we answer them are hard facts. So the number one is we analyze every batch before it leaves our production to the customer. This is number one. And the second thing is we have the highest certifications what's possible. And this is how we can tell our customers that we are safe. And the last most important thing is we have products across Europe. So when they are in the retail shelves, I think everyone who sells to the retail knows
how
they do not
it
accept exactly. They do not accept, and there are the strictest rules. So the best marketing or assurance of quality we have by selling our ingredients since 3-4 years in the retail shelves.
Yeah. All right, so we see now the end products that you market to the industry. Maybe looking forward. So what are your goals? I can imagine you are still looking for brand or industry partnerships in the future. You mentioned that the milk alternatives could be one of the fields where you see such partnerships. What else can come in the future for you?
We have two new innovations, but we will show also at the Anuga. That's why we are in the innovation area, luckily. Number one is definitely the plant-based milk segment. Here we address the companies which are non-dairy brands or non-dairy private label brands. The second one is really interesting. We have requests from traditional dairy producers because it's hard to go out there with an oat or a soy or a rice where there's so much competition. So you need some innovation, and here we definitely have something what no one else has. And these are in the non-dairy segment. And then we have our, which has no one seen yet, so it's completely new, released in this interview, our newest ingredients for the confectionery and bakery industry, which are these diced seeds. There was an additional technology needed, so you will taste soon the first chocolates and bakery products made from former unused apricot kernels. Cool. Great taste with a lot of additional benefits.
And you would then, of course, love to talk with the, say, chocolate industry or neighboring industry categories to partner with you and put out some new products to the shelves, right?
That's true. We address the classical chocolate producers, which brands, and also private label brands, because the thing what we saw is right now we are in a situation where price is really tough and big price fluctuations. So we see that also private label retail brands, which are often lower priced, this ingredient is very interesting because we can produce it very competitive with sometimes even little lower price than the almonds or hazelnuts what are out there. So we hope we can help the industry in these difficult phases, especially the chocolate industry. They have problems enough with price.
Yeah, that's true.
Hi, I'm Jan Philipp from Anuga, and if you want to meet innovators and innovation drivers like KernTec, visit Anuga in October in Cologne and visit the biggest trade show for the food and beverage industry.
Talking briefly about Anuga, because obviously you will be there. How is the experience like for you as a young company? You have been there once, right? How was it for you to introduce your novelties at such a big industry event?
Yeah, I can look back 2 years ago when we were exhibiting there, and definitely it was our most successful exhibition. The reason was we were in an area where we did not have a lot of competition in terms of innovation. So we had a complete new product, and I can remember we had like 3 different camera teams there from German television. We had like over 400 leads after the exhibition, which were interested and enthusiastic about the product. So it was definitely our most successful one. But of course, the thing is, everyone knows who goes to an exhibition from these 400 leads. In the end, 10% are the ones you really build opportunities and business cases. And this year, I expect a lot from the new exhibition area in terms of innovation, because people are going there explicitly to find new ingredients,
like with
and
a distinct interest of seeing these products. And
exactly, that's it. So I think you have tailor-made people who go there, and the quality of leads, I think, will be even better than it was already in the past. So I'm really excited for this new experiment.
All right, Michael, thanks so far for this interview. You promised some taste tests for me, and we will now go in our kitchen and try some products, and I'm really excited about that. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we entered the kitchen, and gladly we have all the products that you brought all the way from Austria. Again, we have the raw materials and the food ingredients with us, and this is now like a small selection of products that you can actually make out of them, right? So, can you just quickly explain what we see here?
Exactly. So since we know now the history of our raw material, how it's produced, of course, we want to taste it. And today I brought two simple products. So number one, from our nuts, what we produce, you can on the one hand drink today one of our chocolate drinks, a plant-based milk, and on the other hand, it's a pure apricot seed-based drink. So you can taste here the real taste of an apricot seed. And on the other hand, a very simple product is our chocolate, and usually you use almonds or hazelnuts. So today you can enjoy it with sustainable apricot seeds.
Oh wow, cool. Okay.
I hope you like it.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing all the product. I would say we start with the milk first.
That's true.
And then get into the chocolate later. All right. So this is then a retail product or a private label product.
Exactly. So this is a formula which is sold in Switzerland. And yes, people usually who like nutty taste also like this. We tried to make it as flat as possible to not to be too intense, that you can use it everywhere. Pure in mueslis, in the coffee, etc.
And this is how you apply then this paste, right?
This is true. This is the basis
All right.
mixed into this product.
Wow. Yeah. Really cool. So no disadvantage, I would say, to the usual dairy alternatives that you can get. Pretty close to almond milk, I would say. Can you just briefly tell us about the nutrients and the nutritious profile of the product?
Yes, so we tried to have the taste as number one, thing. So for that reason, we have approximately 1.7% of apricot seeds. This is enough to get this light taste of it. Then it's quite a basic recipe. So you also add some sunflower oil to give it a little bit of creaminess and some thickeners. So it's quite a basic recipe, which shows that you can get this typical taste for your breakfast or coffee.
Yeah, that's really the nutty taste that you expect. Perfect. Okay, so I'm so lucky to try the chocolate milk as well. Looks delicious already.
That's good. Yeah, here we have a little bit an advantage. The good thing is, yes, nuts and chocolate is a good combination. So,
yeah, I can drink the whole thing, to be honest.
That's really nice. Thank you. And it's a good to-go product. Here you really see the difference. But what's really surprising is when people buy the 1 liter and when the 0.5, you can really see when you compare these products in the city center, in a hypermarket, there the big one is sold more. And then if you go, for example, to a gas station or like, when we're here in Berlin and Alexanderplatz, people are just grabbing one thing to go, and then you can really see the rotation. And the difference is just the packaging. We were really surprised about this.
Yeah. Really good. Thank you. All right. There is some chocolate. I will try the chocolate for sure. So, and here you now use the diced apricot seeds, right?
Okay, exactly.
It's the same thing.
That's true. Yeah, with the chocolate, here we try to design the raw material that it gets a little bit more crunchy, because usually you have a soft bite. And here we really try about the roasting and our additional process, what we do, that you get this crunchiness, what people usually like in a chocolate, because it improves the mouthfeel. So this was designed for the chocolate.
Yeah, yeah. And now, like in this sample, you apply it on the outside. Normally, you would have that in the whole mixture as like an
Exactly.
almond replacement or something like that.
This is true. So you can put it like this for decoration or inside. And also it's possible in vegan chocolates, you usually also take nut butters. So for that reason, also the butter, which is usually used in the non-dairy segment, can be done here in chocolate. But yes, that's the same product in 2 different applications.
Yeah, it's a nice crunchiness. I like it. Last but not least, you brought some.
This is the easiest. The whole snacking seed covered with chocolate.
Wow. Really good.
Yes, thank you. It's a simple explanation
Yeah.
for our raw material. In the end, it's very easily explained. It's a nut, and you can have the wide field of application for the nut, and we try to give our best to meet the consumer's needs on a high level.
Yeah, it really is. And even though it's only a small selection, I really see how professional you are in applying actually your ingredients for the industry. And I think it's really versatile in terms of usage, and also, as you mentioned, in terms of price comparison and other aspects that you need in the end. Thank you, Michael, for bringing the products. And let's also give the products to some of our people from the community and see how they react back in our studio.
That's really interesting. Yes, let's see.
So I'm now trying the apricot seed drink.
Yeah, you can definitely taste the nutty flavor.
Pretty surprised. Expected it to be way more sweeter, given the name or the base of the milk alternative.
From a texture, it reminds me of milk.
It's really interesting. I don't really know what I expected, but yeah, it's really smooth. It does have kind of a milky taste, I would say, but it also has like some hints of like seeds or even nuts.
Tastes pretty based, I would say. I would describe it as a classic milk alternative in a way.
I think it could be a way better addition to coffee than almond, for example.
But I would also say, like, I mean, if I imagine this in, for example, like some cereal or also coffee, I think it's like a very neutral and balanced taste.
I have to say it's smooth, it's nice. It's something I could consider buying for usages at home.
So yeah, it's really nice.